Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV. Today we're talking about being more intentional. Are you ready? Let's get started. We're in the middle of an 8-episode series based on a blog post I wrote with advice for leaders in 2018. And in this post, the 5th in this series, I'm talking about the point I made in the post that we titled More Intention, Less Routine. So let's talk about those two words for just a second. First, intention. When we do something with intention, it's on purpose, it's planned, it's conscious. But routine is the stuff of our habits. We do it without thinking, without forward thought, without planning. It just sort of happens. Now, without routines, we as human beings wouldn't be able to survive. And even as leaders, without some routines, we wouldn't be able to be very successful. We'd always be sort of in our head. You've heard people say that. But what I'm suggesting today is that if those routines aren't working, then we got to get better, right? So if you want to be a better leader, you must become more intentional, or you'll keep doing what you've always done. And there are situations where if you'd be more intentional, you'd get better results. Just taking that second to do that, right? So I'm going to give you 4 simple examples, 4 things that you can start doing right away to be more intentional as a leader. And the first one of those is intention on your calendar. Intention on your calendar. Have you looked at your calendar lately to see if what it shows you is that you were working on the most important things? Or are the days just flowing one to the next without you really achieving the most important things? Are you blocking time on your calendar to work on the important things? The projects before the week they're due, and those sorts of things. So that's what I'm talking about. If we get more intentional and more conscious and more thoughtful about how we plan our calendars, we will get better results rather than just letting the days flow one to the next in a routine. Second, intention in your communication. And what I'm talking about here is, how am I choosing to communicate? My tone of voice, perhaps, or even the methods or modes that I use. Am I sending an instant message? Am I walking down the hall? Am I picking up the phone? Am I sending an email? When am I communicating? Is now the right or best time to do that? Am I ready to share this? Is the other person ready to hear it? Am I going to interrupt them? Are they upset, anxious? Is now the wrong time? And to whom? Who all do I need to be communicating to? In pretty much any organization I've ever worked in, there have been challenges with people saying, man, not everybody knows what's going on. So thinking about those questions and getting better at our communication, being more intentional about our communication is a huge way for us to be more successful as a leader. Next, intention in coaching. Now, this relates to the calendar because I'm going to challenge you to put your coaching opportunities and your one-on-one meetings with folks on your calendar, but be intentional about coaching and be intentional to not just react to what you saw and say, here's what the problems are, but be intentional about not only what you're coaching about, but the ways in which you're doing it. Intention in coaching. And lastly, intention in focus. What are you focusing on? So as I sit here today, I've got 2 or 3 big projects that deserve and need my attention. And so if I'm not intentional in which of those I'm focusing on when, I'm not going to be very successful. We all know that when we can stay focused on one thing for some period of time, we will accomplish more, we'll be more productive. So think about the things that distract you or divert you, and then get out of your routine and be more intentional in your focus. Now, before I close, I want to make an observation, because I've, along with Wayne Trammell, just finished a book called The Long Distance Leader, Rules for Remarkable Remote Leadership. And one of the things we say a lot in the book is this idea that when we're leading a team remotely, we have to be more intentional. We can't just go with the routines. And so while everything I've just said applies to all of us as leaders, if part or all of your team is remote from you part or all of the time, this intention thing becomes even more important. And I'd encourage you to think about it carefully and intentionally, and heck, maybe even watch this video again. Let me close with today's tweet. The best leaders are intentional leaders. Did you catch it just a minute ago? I mentioned my new book, The Long Distance Leader. You can learn all about it. And depending on when you're watching this, it's either ready for pre-order or already out, but the website's ready. And you can go to longdistanceleaderbook.com, get a sample chapter, and learn lots more. Thanks so much, and I'll be back here next week, as always, with another episode of Remarkable TV.